Hi, my name is Barbara Carroll, and this is my entry, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, for the Booksmith Classics Challenge. The cover of this journal is made using heavyweight chipboard with some raised embellishments. There's painted cloth covering the chipboard that was antiqued with wax and white distress paint and some coffee-dyed cheesecloth in the spine. The spine is curved. There are 4 signatures in the book. We know that the story is about Hester Prynne traveling from England to a new colony in America. Most of what's inside is really very plain and severe, in keeping with the puritanical theme of the story. Coffee-dyed pages, we see a letter from Chillingsworth, who was the doctor that we find out was Hester's husband, although not the father of her baby. She tells the people in the community with her that he sent her on ahead to set up home, when in reality he's actually staying with Indians not too far away, learning their folklore and their medicinal practices. That was his interest. The journal does have pockets and does use some different types of material. She did like music and kept that hidden because of the atmosphere. She missed where she came from. She also brought with her some materials from England. She planned on being a seamstress to make her living in the new area. She did miss her parents, even though their relationship was very austere. She keeps a locket with a picture in it of her father on one side and her mother on the other. By this point, her situation becomes apparent, and she really does read the Bible and pray every day. She's frightened and scared about what's going to happen when the people around her realize that she's pregnant. Of course, they come to that realization pretty quickly, and as punishment, since her husband's not there, she's forced to sew herself and create a scarlet letter. She decides to go with the scarlet because her personality is a little bit flamboyant underneath it all. She thinks maybe she'll embroider it in gold, but she settles on the actual letter itself in a red fabric that she had with her. At this point, she's got some bleak time in the prison, and that's where she gives birth to the baby girl, Pearl. We still don't know at this time who her father is. She begins to plan to make some clothes and take care of Pearl. That's the person she chooses to focus on. She uses some of the leftover red fabric and some of the materials that she brought with her to do that. Again, these are somewhat dark days. She begins to make clothing and robes for people in the area in which she lives. She makes a lot of funereal robes for the dignitaries in the town, in the colony where they're living. Again, she builds a home for herself and for Pearl, and this is the point in time where her, sewing really takes off, and she does a lot of robes for dignitary. Of course, dignitaries, we know one night she's delivering one, and that's how she stumbles upon the preacher on the stockade. And she's a little concerned because he's acting strangely differently than what he has been, and she begins to suspect that it might have something to do with Chillingsworth, because now he's back. The 2 men are living together, and she's concerned that maybe Chillingsworth has done something, figured it all out, and poisoned Dimmesdale. Dimmesdale, we can assume, might have written her a letter saying how sorry he was that she had to stand on the stockade and he didn't have to take the same punishment. This is the point in the book where we know that he can't stand the guilt anymore, and the guilt of it actually drives him to his death. We see that on his chest is the red marking. We never do figure out who puts it there, whether it was the doctor himself or it was some act of God, but she continues to keep her faith. She lives out the end of her life studying the surroundings. She begins to take an interest in horticulture. She raises Pearl, and Pearl marries a wealthy man and moves to Europe, but she keeps in touch with her mother at the end of the story. She lets her know where she is, and she sends her things from her travels. Hester lives her life very quietly and isn't seen very much. People begin to forget about her. She takes an interest in the local horticulture, collects seeds and grows things, keeps a garden. She's very rarely seen in the town anymore. Again, she collects plants, and that begins to be her interest. She's a very solitary person at the last part of her life. Pearl continues to travel Europe and sends postcards from wherever it is that she is living with her husband. She also sends her mother different things from across the ocean, pretty fabrics. She knows her mother still sews, and she sends her laces and different things that she's able to buy her in her travels. Again, Hester isn't seen until someone is seen at the end of the story going back into the home where they both lived, but we can assume that it's Pearl returning to live there and that Hester died a peaceful, if somewhat sad, death. These are just some of the plants and things that she collected later on at the end of her life. This challenge was really fun to do, definitely stressed my capabilities. I was so glad for the opportunity. Thanks so much, Nick, for thinking of it. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you.